Late one morning in the Hollywood Hills, a tow yard worker goes about what should have been a routine job. A white Tesla, impounded for a parking violation, sits quietly under the sun, pristine on the outside, unremarkable to anyone passing by. But as the worker approaches the vehicle, something feels off. A faint, sickly odor lingers in the warm air, an odor that grows stronger with every step. He hesitates. Then, curiosity wins. He presses the release latch. The hood lifts slowly. Inside lies a nightmare. Stuffed into the front trunk, of that Tesla, is a large bag, sealed tight. The smell hits him first. Then the realization. A human body. Not a mannequin. Not an animal. A young girl, lifeless, decomposed, and hidden inside a car that doesn't belong to her. The worker stumbles back, calling out to his supervisor. Within minutes, police tape seals the area. Sirens echo through the canyon roads. Hollywood Hills, the land of fame and luxury, has just turned into the scene of something unspeakable. But who was she? Why was she there? And whose car was this? Within hours, the name surfaces: David Anthony Burke, better known as the singer D4VD, a rising star with millions of fans and a promising career. The discovery sends shockwaves through Los Angeles. How could the body of a missing teenage girl be found inside the vehicle of one of music's brightest young talents? Was this an accident, or something far darker? Welcome to Verdict Trail, where we dive deep into the world's most chilling true crime cases. If you love unraveling mysteries, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us bring you more stories like this. Please help and support this small growing channel to a big family. Today, we uncover the disturbing truth behind the Celeste Rivas Tesla case. Because sometimes, the most ordinary cars hide the darkest secrets. This is the disturbing truth behind the Celeste Rivas Tesla case. A story that begins like a missing persons report, and ends with one of the most shocking discoveries in Los Angeles in years. Who was Celeste Rivas, the quiet, brown-eyed teenager whose disappearance barely made headlines at first, until her name became a chilling mystery whispered across social media? How did she vanish from her family's home in Lake Elsinore, only to be found months later, in a decomposing state, inside the front trunk of a Tesla registered to rising pop sensation David Anthony Burke, known to millions as D4VD? Was this a tragic accident? A crime of passion? Or something far more sinister, a cover-up that reached into the heart of Hollywood's music scene? For weeks, investigators scoured every lead, retracing her final days, interviewing family, friends, and fans, but each new discovery only raised more questions than it answered. Why did no one report seeing her with the singer? Why did police visit her home so many times before her disappearance? And what secrets were buried inside the digital footprints she left behind? To the public, it looked like a tragic story of a runaway gone wrong. But to those who knew Celeste, the classmates who saw her struggle, the friends who said she was trying to escape something, and the ex-boyfriend who later claimed her home life was far from safe, this case revealed a pattern of pain that had been building long before she vanished. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll peel back layer after layer of secrecy, rumor, and grief, to piece together a story that may never fully make sense. Because behind every headline, behind every press conference, there's a truth that no one wants to face. A young girl is dead. A celebrity's car is now a crime scene. And somewhere between fame, family, and fear, lies the disturbing truth of what really happened to Celeste Rivas. To understand this case, we have to step back. Back before the headlines. Before the crime scene photos. Before the Tesla became a tomb. We have to meet the two lives that fate would one day cross in the most disturbing way imaginable. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Born and raised in Lake Elsinore, California, Celeste was a quiet soul, soft-spoken, shy, and often lost in her own world. To her classmates, she was the girl who smiled politely but rarely spoke up. To her neighbors, she was just another kid on the block, always carrying a backpack, walking to the corner store, helping her mom bring in groceries. A normal life, on the surface. But behind that innocent image, something darker was brewing. Throughout 2024, Celeste's name appeared repeatedly in police reports. Deputies were called to the Rivas home dozens of times, responding to welfare checks, domestic concerns, and missing person alerts. Between February and April of 2024, Celeste was reported missing not once, but 3 separate times. Each time, she came back home. Each time, the cycle of silence resumed. Those close to her say Celeste had a tender heart, but one burdened by pain she never fully shared. Some described her as a little too trusting. Others whispered that she'd been trying to get away from something. Her family's social media painted the picture of heartbreak, desperate pleas for her return, emotional posts filled with fear and frustration. But behind those posts, there were hints of deeper dysfunction, of a home that may not have been the safe haven it appeared to be. One acquaintance claimed Celeste had mentioned someone older, a romantic interest, perhaps. But who that person was, or what role they may have played, remains unclear. Then there's the other half of this story. David Anthony Burke. To the world, he's known by one name, D4VD. Born in Houston, Texas, in 2004, Burke shot to fame almost overnight. From recording songs in his bedroom to topping charts with viral hits like Romantic Homicide, his rise was meteoric. A new kind of pop star, introspective, artistic, emotionally raw. By 2025, he was touring the world. Performing on sold-out stages. Living in luxury homes. Leasing a $20,000 a month mansion in the Hollywood Hills, a symbol of success, and soon, a crime scene. When police traced the Tesla where Celeste's body was found, the paperwork led back to him. David Anthony Burke. The young man whose music spoke of heartbreak and loss, now connected to a tragedy that seemed pulled straight from his own lyrics. Two worlds, separated by fame, age, and circumstance, somehow collided. Celeste, the vulnerable teenager who kept running away. And Burke, the global star living in a city where secrets hide behind mansion gates. The question now isn't just how they crossed paths. It's why. Because when innocence meets celebrity, and ends in silence, something far greater than chance may be at play. When these two lives intertwined, something terrible happened. But was it coincidence? Negligence? Or something far darker, something that no one is ready to admit? Let's step chronologically through Celeste's final months. The small disappearances. The quiet warnings. And the long, tragic build-up to a moment of no return. February 2024. It was Valentine's Day when Celeste Rivas was first reported missing. Her mother's voice trembled through a Facebook post that morning. "Please share, this is my daughter." The photo showed a young girl with soft brown eyes and a shy smile, a face now etched in fear across Lake Elsinore. Surveillance footage from the early hours, around 2 a.m., shows a lone figure slipping away from home. A hat. Light pants. A hoodie. Hello Kitty sandals. She moves like someone who's done this before, quiet, deliberate, but uncertain. By midday, deputies arrive at the Rivas home. By evening, the calls go quiet. Celeste is found, alive, and returned. But something unspoken lingers in the air. March 19, 2024. Barely a month later, it happens again. At 7:57 a.m., her parents call the authorities. Celeste is gone. A local store's security camera captures a figure walking past, same clothes, same gait, and though the image is grainy, neighbors are certain, it's her. The whispers start again. Why does she keep running away? What is she trying to escape? Deputies make follow-up visits. Parents hand out flyers. The neighborhood feels uneasy. Each disappearance feels more like a cry for help, one no one seems to understand. April 2024. A third missing persons report. April 5th. This time, it's late, 9:29 p.m. when the call comes in. In the following weeks, April 11th, 19, and 20, deputies return for welfare checks. The same notes appear in their reports. Follow-up. Welfare concern. Neighbors recall seeing her in the same outfit, gray pants, black sweater, hat, sandals. Always the same pattern. Always the same ending. She vanishes, then returns. Quiet. Withdrawn. But with each disappearance, something inside that house, and inside Celeste, seemed to fracture a little more. Mid-2024 through 2025. Then, silence. The public updates stop. The social media pleas fade. But the deputies don't. Records show that from 2022 through 2025, the Rivas home was visited dozens of times by law enforcement. Calls marked FOO, follow-ups. Each one a small red flag waving in the dark. Meanwhile, more than 80 miles away, the singer David Anthony Burke, D4VD, is living a very different reality. His music career soars. His Withered World Tour takes him across continents. By summer 2025, he's renting a $20,000 a month home in the Hollywood Hills. A Tesla, part of his image, sleek, electric, modern, becomes his signature ride. But by August, parking enforcement officers in that quiet Hollywood neighborhood notice something strange. A white Tesla sits unmoved for days. Tires marked. No movement. On September 3rd, a 72-hour violation notice is issued. Still, no one comes for the car. By September 5th, the vehicle is impounded, standard procedure. Another forgotten luxury car in a city full of them. Then, 3 days later, September 8, 2025, the tow yard worker opens the front trunk. Inside, the decomposing body of a young girl. Her name was Celeste Rivas. And in a chilling twist, the discovery comes just one day after her 15th birthday. The Tesla was registered to D4VD. A teenage runaway. A world-famous musician. And a question no one could answer. How did these two paths, so impossibly distant, end in the same place? As we move next into the crime itself, pay close attention. The signs were there: multiple disappearances, deputies' visits, a rising tension nobody could name, and a luxury car quietly abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. The stage was set. And the darkness was waiting. September 8, 2025. In a quiet Los Angeles tow yard, a worker goes through his morning routine: paperwork, keys, the clinking of metal gates. Among the vehicles lined up for processing sits a white Tesla Model Y, impounded just days earlier from a street high above the Hollywood Hills. Nothing about it seems unusual. No visible damage. No sign of forced entry. Just another car, waiting for release. Until he opens the front trunk. A wave of stench floods the air, heavy, chemical, and unmistakable. Inside, a large, sealed bag. The worker steps back, his stomach tightening. He knows what that smell means. He calls his supervisor. Then, the police. Within minutes, flashing lights wash over the metallic surfaces of the lot. Detectives move quickly, sealing off the area with yellow tape. The air buzzes with confusion and disbelief. Inside the trunk lies the decomposed body of a young girl. By nightfall, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner arrives on scene. The remains are removed, carefully, quietly. Forensics begin the slow, methodical work of identification. The next day, confirmation arrives. The body belongs to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, age 14. The girl who vanished months ago has finally been found. But not the way anyone hoped. Immediately, a storm of questions follows. When did she die? How did her body end up in that car? And was she alive when she was placed there, or already gone? Investigators soon discover something chilling. The Tesla had been parked, unmoved, in that Hollywood Hills neighborhood for weeks before being towed. Neighbors recall seeing it, sleek, silent, gathering dust in the sun. No one thought much of it. Not in a city full of Teslas. But that detail changes everything. If the car sat there for weeks, Celeste likely died long before the body was ever found. Maybe even a month before. Attention turns quickly to the name on the registration. David Anthony Burke. Better known as D4VD, the chart-topping singer behind Romantic Homicide. The irony is not lost on anyone. Detectives execute a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills rental connected to Burke. The scene is surreal, luxury cars in the driveway, cameras flashing, drones circling overhead. Inside, investigators seize computers, hard drives, cell phones. Anything that might reveal how a missing teenager's body ended up inside a pop star's vehicle. Meanwhile, the coroner works through the long process of identification and analysis. Autopsy. Toxicology. Cause of death, deferred. Meaning, the medical examiner cannot yet say how Celeste died. Contrary to rumors spreading online, the report confirms one fact: Celeste was not pregnant. But beyond that, every answer only opens another door of uncertainty. The timeline doesn't fit neatly. The car was abandoned. The owner was on tour. The girl had been missing for months. And yet, somehow, their worlds collided in death. From that moment, contradictions began to surface everywhere. A celebrity who claims he had no knowledge. A body hidden in plain sight. A family still haunted by questions that the police can't, or won't, answer. The case that began with a simple parking violation has now become one of the strangest and most chilling mysteries Los Angeles has seen in years. And the deeper investigators dig, the darker it gets. Every crime tells a story. But in this one, the evidence doesn't speak clearly. It whispers, in fragments, contradictions, and silence. The case now hinges on what can be proven, and what's still hidden in the gaps between. Vehicle and forensics. The Tesla, a sleek white Model Y, sat parked for days, untouched under the sun of the Hollywood Hills. On August 27, parking enforcement officers documented its tire marks. The car hadn't moved in weeks. When it was finally towed and opened on September 8, the stench inside was overwhelming, the unmistakable odor of decomposition. Inside, a black bag. Inside the bag, Celeste Rivas. The body was in an advanced state of decay, skin, bone, and fragments of clothing. Forensic specialists estimated she had been dead for several weeks, maybe longer. Her discovery wasn't just tragic, it was confusing. How could a Tesla, with GPS tracking, motion sensors, and owner alerts, sit abandoned that long without notice? Who parked it there? And when? Death certificate and medical examiner. When the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner released the preliminary findings, they offered more questions than answers. The cause of death was listed as deferred. Meaning, the coroner could not determine how she died. No public sign of trauma. No confirmed weapon. No obvious cause. Toxicology reports were ordered. DNA testing, too. But those results, if completed, have not been released. The certificate also confirmed one fact. Celeste was not pregnant, ending weeks of online speculation that linked her to the singer in far darker ways. So if it wasn't violence, and it wasn't pregnancy, then what was it? Call logs and family history. To find answers, detectives looked backward, to Celeste's home life. Records show deputies had visited the Rivas home dozens of times over several years, for welfare checks, follow-ups, and missing person reports. 3 times in 2024 alone, Celeste vanished and returned. Each time, a little quieter. A little further away. In one instance, surveillance footage captured her walking alone down a dimly lit street, wearing her signature hoodie and sandals, possibly approaching a dark vehicle that slowed near her. Was someone waiting for her? Was this a planned meeting, or a fatal coincidence? Online, her family's posts painted a picture of desperation. "Please bring her home," her mother wrote. But neighbors described tension, police visits, and a growing fear that something behind closed doors wasn't right. Search of Burke's residence and digital evidence. Meanwhile, investigators turn their focus to the Hollywood Hills. A mansion leased to David Anthony Burke, known to millions as D4VD. Search warrants are executed. Detectives carry out computers, hard drives, and cell phones, the digital footprints of a celebrity suddenly under a microscope. Agents quietly begin mapping cell tower pings, text messages, location data, searching for any digital thread connecting Burke to Celeste. But days pass. Then weeks. And no charges are filed. No public evidence links them beyond the Tesla. Burke's representatives say he is cooperating fully. The LAPD echoes that statement. Yet behind closed doors, sources close to the investigation whisper theories of their own. Contradictions and oddities. If Celeste had been dead for weeks, why was the Tesla never checked? Why didn't the car's digital systems, motion alerts, GPS, maintenance updates, trigger attention? And why is the cause of death still inconclusive? Detectives point to the car's long exposure and the state of decomposition, which may have destroyed key evidence. But others suggest something more deliberate. An overdose, perhaps. A panic. A desperate decision to hide a tragedy that could destroy a career. Still, there's no proof. Only silence. Burke remains a free man. Celeste remains a mystery. And the car, that cold, electric tomb, holds its secrets tight. Each piece of evidence adds to the confusion. Every answer births a new question. The story refuses to settle, and the truth feels just beyond reach. Now, as speculation grows, the investigation fractures into competing theories, each darker than the last. When evidence falters, imagination rushes in. And in a case this haunting, theories multiply, each one offering an answer, and each one raising new doubts. Let's examine the leading possibilities, and the cracks that break them apart. Theory 1, a secret relationship, panic, and concealment. The most popular theory paints a tragic picture. That Celeste and Burke knew each other, perhaps online, their connection hidden from the public eye. She was young. He was famous. If something went wrong, an overdose, a medical emergency, panic might have followed. A desperate attempt to avoid scandal. A decision made in fear, not malice. A life lost, and another destroyed. Supporters point to Burke's rental home, the seized electronics, and the swift search that followed the body's identification. But here's the problem, there's no proof. No verified messages. No location data. No witness who saw them together. And if concealment was the goal, why leave the Tesla in plain sight, parked for weeks on a public street? Even panic has logic. This theory, only halfway does. Theory 2, family or domestic involvement. Then there's the possibility that the answers lie closer to home. The Rivas family's history is not without turmoil. Multiple missing person reports, police visits, welfare checks, and quiet tension behind closed doors. Could something have happened within those walls? If so, how did her body travel 60 miles north to the Hollywood Hills? Who drove the Tesla? And why there? There's no sign of the family being investigated as suspects. Still, the emotional storm in that home remains part of this puzzle's weather. Theory 3, a stranger's hand. Some suggest an entirely different actor. A predator, a drifter, or someone unconnected to either family or fame. In this version, Celeste's disappearance ends in abduction. The Tesla becomes nothing more than a convenient hiding place. But this theory collapses under its own logistics. Access to the car. Transporting a body undetected. And somehow ensuring it remained untouched for weeks. Every possibility feels more improbable than the last. Theory 4, a staged setup or cover-up. A darker whisper lingers online, that the entire scene was staged. That the body was deliberately placed there. Either to frame someone or to shift focus from a deeper truth. In this telling, the delayed discovery, the inconclusive autopsy, and the Hollywood connection aren't coincidence, they're choreography. But to believe this, one must imagine precision, access, and control far beyond what's been shown. It's the most cinematic theory, and the least grounded in fact. Theory 5, a medical event or unforeseen accident. And finally, the quietest theory. That Celeste suffered a medical emergency, a seizure, a heart episode, or an accident no one meant to happen. Maybe those around her didn't know what to do. Maybe they panicked. Maybe fear, again, led to silence. This theory carries no villain. Only tragedy. But like the rest, it lacks proof. As each theory rises and falls, one truth remains. Speculation is loud. But evidence is silent. And so far, the evidence refuses to speak. Every unanswered question keeps Celeste's story alive. Not as a solved case, but as a haunting echo. A reminder that truth, when hidden, casts the darkest shadow of all. What happens next may change everything. Because as weeks turn into months, the investigation into Celeste Rivas' death is far from over, and the world is watching. The coroner's office continues its meticulous work. Toxicology screens, DNA sequencing, and microscopic tissue analysis. Each result could alter the story, or confirm the darkness we already fear. Meanwhile, public obsession grows. Every lyric, every video, every social post ever made by D4VD is being re-examined. Frame by frame, word by word. As if the truth might be hidden in plain sight. On TikTok and Reddit, theories spread like wildfire. Some claim hidden messages. Others insist on coincidences. Everyone, it seems, has a version of what really happened. In the midst of grief, Celeste's family launches a GoFundMe for her funeral costs. But even that, heartbreakingly, becomes a source of doubt. Accusations swirl online about authenticity and motive. The family insists it's real. Through it all, Burke remains silent. His representative stating only that he is fully cooperating with authorities. Behind the scenes, the fallout begins. Endorsements vanish. Partnerships freeze. His image, once of a rising creative star, now carries the weight of a tragedy he says he never saw coming. Law enforcement, too, remains cautious. Requests for transparency grow louder. But both the LAPD and the coroner's office refuse to release key findings. Journalists continue digging into phone logs, GPS data, and message histories, hoping that buried in the digital noise lies the missing link between two young lives and one silent car. This case has become more than a mystery. It's a reflection of something larger. How power, fame, and the public eye can twist even the search for truth. Because every new clue, every rumor, every delayed report only deepens one chilling reality. That justice, in Hollywood, moves as slowly as the spotlight fades. And so, we're left standing in the shadows of uncertainty. Did Celeste Rivas die by accident, a moment of panic, a mistake no one meant to make? Or was it something colder, something deliberate, hidden beneath layers of silence and fear? Was her body placed there by someone desperate to erase a connection? Or was it used as a message, a smokescreen, a story written to mislead investigators and the public alike? Every theory seems to hold a sliver of truth. And yet, every one of them collapses under the weight of what we don't know. The Tesla. The silence. The secrecy. They all tell a story, but not the same one. So we ask again. Was this an unspeakable accident born from fear and fame? Or a carefully staged cover-up that fooled even the investigators? What do you think? Was D4VD involved, or is the real culprit someone no one has dared to suspect? Let us know your theory in the comments. We read every single one. And if you were drawn into this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Verdict Trail for more chilling true crime stories that demand answers. Until next time. Stay safe. Stay aware. And above all, stay curious.